2, 1, let's start.
Clock keeps ticking like a metronome, and my thoughts keep telling me to get me home, but my balls keep telling me to let me just let me That clock keeps ticking like a metronome, and my thoughts keep telling me to get me home, but my balls keep telling me to let me just let me That clock keeps ticking like a metronome, and my thoughts keep telling me to get me home, but my balls keep telling me to let me Fuck all that shit, just let me go.
Broadcasting live from the heart of Europe, this is the most badass YouTube broadcast in all the known land. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Tommy C. This is Shot from the Point, and this is a big interview for me. Ian Miles Cheong, journalist, YouTuber, on both. Has the interesting. You were on both sides of the aisle at one point.
I was on both sides of the aisle. That's right.
Both sides of the
I
aisle.
used to be on the side of all the social justice warriors, and now I'm not.
God, I hated you and Arthur Chu.
Please not confuse the two of them.
I know. Does that drive you nuts?
Sometimes, yeah. And even people on his side, right, my former side, they don't like him either. He's insufferable, right? He's a social justice stormtrooper, as he once popularly said on Facebook. Insufferable.
Was that so on that side of the aisle he's tolerated publicly but privately? Thanks so much for the cheer, by the way, Core Master. So privately, times 100. I don't even know how much that is. Why are people giving me Twitch donations?
That's like $1. That's like $1.
Okay, yeah. I don't know that, but thanks so much. I don't want to see if it was $100. I didn't want to undersell it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he's like sort of insufferable even on by their standards.
Absolutely. I mean, this guy is a social justice stormtrooper, but he's their social justice stormtrooper, right? So they tolerate these people. They tolerate Brianna Wu. Behind the scenes, they hate her. They hate
really?
Her. She makes them look stupid. Yeah. But publicly, they got to support a sister, right?
Is it really that lockstep with everybody? I mean, like...
Yes, they're all afraid. Like, if someone, speaks out of turn, you notice they will get destroyed immediately by their own side. If someone speaks out of turn. Recently, a trans... advocate spoke out against a game like Night in the Woods, and they all love Night in the Woods because it's a social justice warrior game, right?
Yeah, gotcha.
And
Thank you, Walt.
This trans person complained that the game was too nice. It presented a Midwestern American city that was too nice. It was Trumpian propaganda, right? So it's ridiculous. Right off the bat, it's ridiculous, but it's a dissenting opinion among that group because they all agree that it's a progressive game, right?
Yeah.
So despite this, despite her being trans and everything, they went after her. They destroyed her career over that. Yeah, she spoke out of turn. And so a lot of the time, it's really a challenge to see where, what you're saying and who you're speaking to, because if you have some disagreement, there is no way to voice it publicly. Like when the guy who makes Cards Against Humanity, right, when he was accused of rape, and this is an unsubstantiated claim. It was made anonymously on Tumblr. There was nothing to back it up. It was just his story versus her story. And many of us behind the scenes, we supported the guy, right? We thought, okay, this is a ridiculous claim. This makes all those other rape claims, the real ones, look really stupid, right? But we couldn't publicly say this. Publicly, a lot of people are going after him. They're going against him, admonishing him for not apologizing for the rape he did not do. So, we couldn't speak out against it. Like, we could drop like a subtweet here and there and be like, you should at least investigate, or there needs to be evidence. You can't just be listen and belief, but it'd be here and there. And if you spoke out too much, there would be a whisper campaign against you. It'd be like, oh, this person's...
okay, let's take... So this happened... I want to take you back to 2014. Right? Just as things today. Because, look, I'm on the other side of this, but you probably did get your share of Gamergate hate that was illegitimate. It was beyond the realm of reasonable criticism.
Oh, absolutely. There was a guy who stalked me to where I live, yeah.
Oh, really? So this is when you were on the other side, and I think we can both agree that's completely unacceptable.
That's nuts, yeah. That guy is Benjamin Barber. He is in prison right now because he's the first man in Oregon to be prosecuted for... what is it? Some sort of it's a new sex crime where he filmed his ex-girlfriend having sex with him.
Oh yeah, the revenge porn. They have that in Michigan
Revenge
now.
porn,
yeah,
yeah.
revenge porn. They have revenge. Certain states have revenge porn laws. Yeah, and he did that to us. And then he came to your. He actually came to your house. I mean,
no, not to my house, but to my country and to my city. He took pictures of himself in front of a police station, saying he was reporting me. He had he had the files in front of him, like a report. Obviously, they never paid me a visit or anything like that because it's a ridiculous report. They probably saw him, he and his lopsided eye. They thought, okay, this is a crazy white guy,
Yeah, he probably stuck out like a sore thumb out there, I imagine, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, so they never visited me. I didn't get any calls from the police or anything like that. But it was creepy to see him, lurking about where I live. Like, come on.
Yeah, come on. That was imagine.
Like, traveling 12,000 miles to
and all that trouble. All that trouble, and you end up flipping on his team anyway.
Yeah.
And now he's in prison. So
the guy was nuts. I mean, he's got I won't go on a tirade about this dude, but he's an interesting character. Let's put it that way. If anyone was in Gamergate, you probably heard of him. Probably even met him at one of the meetups because he used to go to those. Weird dude. Really weird dude. Wanted to launch satellites into space to run anonymous servers or something, as if they couldn't just be shot down. I don't know.
Next thing you know, we're going to see an advertisement for that on Bearings friggin' videos. I think that's probably next, right? He's always selling stuff like that, right? Okay,
exactly.
So it's 2014. You don't mind asking me, how old are you? Because I've had a lot of questions.
I am 34 this year.
You're 34 years old. So, okay. So you're God, it's 4 years ago, so you're almost 30 years old. How and you said that you used words like whisper campaigns, we can't talk. Did anybody ever sit you down and say you can't say this, or it was just kind of unspoken and known that you couldn't speak out on like a rape allegation that you thought was false? Or was it? I
mean, we're all friends, right? So there's no leaders. It doesn't seem like there's any leaders.
Sure.
But it was all known that we would get together in a group or something. Sometimes a small group, sometimes just one-on-one. But we would share our thoughts, our honest opinions with each other, with people we could trust. That's the thing. You could only speak openly and honestly to people who you could really trust. Like if they were really your friends, if they were allies, quote unquote, you couldn't express these opinions because they would whisper it to somebody else. It's a mess.
You know how you sound like? You know who you sound like?
What do I sound like?
My ex-wife's mother-in-law. She grew up in the GDR, the Deutsche Democratic Republic. It's exactly what it is. There's certain people you could talk to and you knew you could do, and it was in the the comfort of your home with certain people and certain types of family members, and otherwise you basically didn't speak. Everything was wonderful and beautiful, and it was a bright sunny day. If it wasn't, that's a lot. I mean.
It's a lot like that, yeah.
Yeah, she grew up under communist tyranny. I mean, I'm not exaggerating here. This is legitimate.
This is communist tyranny, yeah. I haven't seen this in any gaming community I've been a part of. There's no whisper campaigns. If the communities I'm a part of right now, I'm part of many different communities. If there is community drama, let's say two people don't like each other, they will be open and honest about how they dislike each other very, very publicly. And it won't involve anybody else. There will be no shunning. It'll just be like, oh yeah, dude A and dude B hate each other. They hate each other's guts, so don't invite them to the game at the same time. That's it. That's the extent of the drama.
Okay. You all right, so you definitely feel that pressure. You were I gotta be talking. I've talked to some of your former enemies today. I sent a DM to Chris Raygun, who now plays video games with you, and I talked to Mundane Matt, and I just wanted to get a feeling because I didn't have a channel. Well, I mean, I did, but I was doing hockey. To me, like you guys, like Matt, you, Ravzion, all those guys, you guys were in the playing field. I was a fan, and that's why it's such a bug out to get to talk to you guys. So you feel the way you feel. Obviously, I guess you're a well-educated guy. I mean, you're a journalist. And I can't imagine, even when you were a, quote, SJW, I'm sure you didn't have any bad intentions. I mean, how do you get caught up in an ideology of this? And what made you change? Like, maybe this is going too far. Because when Sargon, I think, helped you the most, he put out a video in 2015 saying we should accept his apology. We should hear him out. And he made it abundantly clear. But he made it abundantly clear that your ideology hadn't changed. You just kind of wanted to move on and get off the needless fighting. So I guess my question to you, how does that happen? How does that, I mean, it must make the world spin a little bit, I would imagine. I can't imagine it'd be easy.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, at the time, okay, so we have to backtrack a little bit, right, by a few years. To explain how I got there.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, how did you get there?
Shitlord, you know, I mean, you've seen my chat logs on the 2000s or whatever, right?
Yes, I have.
Early 2000s, and people, you know, love to bring it up. And Gamergate was the one who actually harvested those logs. They found it, right? Some of them were members of that community, RPG Codex. I wasn't a racist. I was just an edgelord. I was just a teenager.
Just being an idiot, you know, Yeah, just
being an idiot.
Can I tell the audience what you're talking about? You were on Reddit a long time ago, and I think you've been removed from Reddit permanently, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Okay, you've been removed. But you were in your early 20s, and you were being, like a lot of the guys in the chat right here can totally get, you were being a douchebag.
You made posting swastikas.
You made like all the shit that everybody does today. All right, you're being an
all the shit that people do in Discord nowadays. Yeah,
and is it also correct that you were using it to promote certain websites and some of your own stuff? Is that correct?
Okay, so the Reddit thing actually happened 10 years after the chat logs. The chat logs are from very early 2000s. I was like a teenager, literally a child.
They're okay. God, I don't even. We don't even need to be talking about that. I don't give a shit what you did when you were.
Yeah. So I mean, just going back there, like you can see, I used to be a shitlord, and with Reddit, you know, I used to promote certain websites. I used to get paid to do it because I was a power redditor. I guess you could call it. At one point, I was like number 8 on most prolific redditors. You know, in terms of karma. Karma is like their fake points.
Yeah, I got a little karma. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Right. So, you know, that was what I used to, like, even promote myself. Like, because when Reddit was first founded, you could promote yourself all the time. It
was no big deal.
They didn't care because they wanted your traffic. They saw that, okay, here's a guy who likes to post stuff a lot. And, occasionally he will post a link to some website that maybe he's getting paid for. We will close a blind eye to it, you know? That's what they were doing with a lot of the power Redditors at the time. I mean, you can look it up. You know, there's a lot of guys who were actually busted for the same reasons I was. And many of them are PR people at publications nowadays. And they were even back then.
Okay, so you're gaming the system a little bit, I imagine.
Gaming the system.
Because by the way, I know Tim Pool's brother, Reactor. He games the system all the time. He's my fucking hero. But this was used against you when you were on the SJW side as being sometimes trying to play you as dishonest.
Some dishonest, unethical person. Yeah, but back when I was, doing it, the rules were different. You were allowed to do it. They didn't care because they just wanted your traffic. But then Reddit blew up, became really big, and then they started implementing new rules. And so if you're still doing it, they would ban you from the site. That was pretty much it. I was not an administrator, so I never signed any contracts with them. There was no ethical violation. But yeah, I mean, I guess you could say that it was kind of skeevy, right? But everybody's doing it. So when everybody's doing it, you're like, okay, so what's the big deal, right? You're like just one of those pirates in the Caribbean Sea or something, right? In the golden age of piracy, you're all doing your thing, and then the British come along and they decide, okay, there's no more piracy allowed.
Well, I mean, when I ran a hockey channel, what I tried to do is to sell my hockey podcast. The NHL allows you to upload their clips as long as they can monetize it, right? So I thought it'd be a really cool idea if I could download these clips quicker than everybody, get them up on Reddit, which most of the sites approved of. So if the Chicago Blackhawks scored and it was a nice goal, I'd capture it, cut it, get it up, get it on YouTube, Reddit. People come for the videos, maybe sub and check out the podcast. That was the strategy, right? But I could only do that so much until somebody came in and said, knock it the fuck off. So I really don't. I mean, look, there probably was something unethical about it, but it's, I don't know. Like, to me, unless you're breaking the law,
it's fucking Reddit. That's the thing. Treat it like it's a big deal. It's just fucking Reddit.
They become such power brokers. They're kingmakers now, and they're kind of an ass. Like, I have more of a problem with them suppressing stuff. Let's say on like a live stream fails, right, or something like that. I have more of a problem with that than I have you trying to game them. Screw them. They're like,
I know, fuck them. Seriously, fuck Reddit.
Fuck Reddit. Exactly.
They've been gaming the system themselves, right? With Imgur, right? With Imgur, they have a little under the covers agreement with Imgur to basically allow Imgur links, but no other website. Like, you can't post a photo bucket. You can't post a tiny pic. You can't use Twitter pictures, for example. You got to use Imgur, or you got to use a built-in Reddit system, which is slow as fuck. And the reason is because they have a little agreement there where they share their traffic. And this little thing, you know, like Imgur, if you notice sometimes that certain pictures that go viral on Imgur are not actually funny memes. They're like promotions for a movie. They're like, remember the scene from a movie before, and here's the sequel. I can't wait to see it. You know, that stuff is all sponsored. I'm telling you right off the bat, it's all sponsored, right? And people are okay with it because somehow it's because Imgur is doing it, but it's completely unethical. Let's be honest here.
Yeah, it is. I mean, the thing is, the internet's still a brave new world as far as all that's concerned. I mean, the government.
Yeah, so when normal people do it to promote their YouTube channels or their websites that get, you know, like, I don't know, 10,000 views a day, which is nothing, right? People get upset. They're like, oh, you're so unethical. And I'm like, really? I mean, I'm just gaming the system. I'm just playing this thing. And you guys are treating Reddit like it's the law. Like, are you serious?
Yeah, like
they don't
like it's law. And you're saying that when you started this problem, the rule change didn't happen, but I guess then you continue to do it after the rule
exactly.
change. And
yeah,
then
we
you
were
got
all doing it.
And you were punished. You were punished.
Yeah,
you were kicked off the site.
And I was dragged, you know,
went to Reddit court.
Public. Right, Daily Dot wrote an article about me. You can read it up. There's actually 2 articles. The first article is basically a hit piece. The second piece is an interview where they're asking me my opinions on Reddit moderators not getting paid and why that's an issue. And
reactions in the chat, by the way.
Yeah.
So he knows all about it. I'm almost afraid. You know, it's funny because I never bitch about. I'm afraid to say I hate Reddit. I do. I hate them. I hate their fucking guts. I think they're a bunch of fucking jackasses. They're almost as bad as people that work for fucking Twitch. I mean, you know, a bunch of guys that don't get laid. They're almost worse than Twitch. I hate Reddit.
With Twitch, it's like they have a hands-off approach, and if they pop up in your channel, it's to support you. You know, that's my experience with Twitch.
Yeah.
With Reddit, it's like they want to act like they're your boss.
Yeah, they're
and that they somehow own you, right? That's the policy of Reddit. It's a bunch of fucking nerds who were never popular in school.
That's right. Now they are.
One day they had power, you know, because they were not being shoved into lockers anymore. So suddenly they're the bosses.
Yeah, I know.
They want to shove people around.
Well, the great YouTuber, Great Under A. I mean, he was basically made by Reddit. He put a couple of videos out, and Reddit picked him. That's another thing. Yeah. Like you make it on YouTube a couple ways, right? You can hit the algorithm, which happens, and none of it has to do with making great content. You can hit the algorithm. You can get a shout out from a bigger YouTuber, or you can get Reddited. I mean, and it's just like at the end of the day, and I don't make any secret about this for what little that I have, which is a lot compared to, you know, I mean, I'm still in like sort of the 1 percentile, I guess, the lower end of the 1 percentile. The way to make it on YouTube is politics.
It is politics.
It is politics, and it's just that simple. It has nothing to do with your content or how good. It helps if your content's good, but look at the people everybody bitches about, like this Ali A guy who does nothing but horrible Fortnite videos with horrible gameplay. But you know what? He probably plays He's probably not an idiot. I personally think, what's his name? The Dutch kid with the chia pet hair. What's his name? Quovo Cop, right? I personally think his content sucks. But I know from people who know him, he's a fucking brilliant guy. I mean, as far as YouTube and the way he understands things and the way he looks at things, he's somebody that's worth listening to. So it's politics and probably a little knowledge of algorithm and reactors in there right now. He knows how to guys that know how to game the system. All right, let's get back to it. Let's talk about
how I became a social justice.
So how do you flip after being sort of an edgelord gamer type? I would think you would have stayed on.
It was a slow flip. I wouldn't even call it a flip. It's more of a transformation. It's just that, you know, when I was becoming a games journalist, there are 2 ways I could go. I could just continue to be a nobody, you know, by being a continued edgelord, right? Which is what many smaller sites do. They don't gain any sort of credibility, at least at the time. Now they are, right?
After post-Gamergate, though, or post-Gamergate,
But back in pre-Gamergate days, you know, the only way to make it in the industry was to essentially be a part of the clique. And I was part of the clique. Wow, that's a pretty big donation. Nice.
No, it's $5. It's $5, not $250. I would have stopped you. Don't worry. Go ahead. They understand. They understand that. They understand when interviews it's a little different.
Slow, yeah.
Yeah, they understand. They understand. They're great.
It's no biggie. So they. It's not that I wanted to become legitimate. It's just that you know, everybody wants to be taken seriously, and everybody wants to find a community. And you know, when I was doing games journalism, I wasn't originally a games journalist. I used to do fan sites, and then I went to work for a games publisher. And you know, if I'd done something differently, maybe I'd be working at EA right now or something. But I was working at a publisher, and I decided, I'm going to get back into writing because I love writing about video games. I can't just be working for this company. So while I was working at the company, started a website, started doing, covering gaming news. It was originally Diablo 3 news, and then I started branching out. The site got a lot of traffic. It could take off by itself. I could quit my job. And I started doing that. And then, obviously I started speaking to other games journalists or wannabe games journalists in the industry and became part of the clique, right? And little by little, they started turning into socialists. I wasn't full on socialist, obviously, never. I would say that, okay, maybe it's misunderstood. Now I understand that my original idea of what socialism wasn't actually wrong. It's a bunch of fucking nonsense.
But you slowly started hearing their ideas, and I got to be honest, socialism on the surface sounds very nice. Everybody's equal.
It sounds great. Social justice sounds great. Yeah. It's like, you think, people are being oppressed. Why not help them out?
Sure.
But you don't realize you're actually falling into a trap, right? It's a thought trap where everybody's a victim, and it turns into like an oppression Olympics. Notice how every time these guys tweet, it's always about how oppressed they are or how oppressed somebody else is and how offended they are on behalf of the other person. Like any perceived oppressions become a thing because the whole identity of being a social justice warrior is based around the idea of oppression, of being oppressed. And so when, you're given a hammer, everything looks like a nail, as they say. And so that's what happened with social justice warriors. Originally, I'm sure many of these people, not all of them, but many of them got into it because they thought it was the right thing to do. And that's why they're so, they cling on to their beliefs. So when they see someone like me move away from it, they are aghast, right? They're like, you've seen all the oppression. How is it that you can just shut a blind eye to it, right?
And you're a minority to boot, so it probably it angers them because they're always just projected from the left. Thank you, Ian Miles. What? Ian isn't a journalist. He's a dishonest propagandist. Fuck off. I mean, come on, man.
Wow, somebody hates me.
And they hate you so much.
Telling me how much he hates me. That's wonderful.
He gave me $10, man. I don't know. Well, I mean, I haven't heard him say anything fraudulent, and he's just simply sharing his opinion. So, become a journalist yourself and make a video on Ian. Take it apart because you know what? I noticed most of you guys, you say fraud, you say bad person, you say this, but you never, ever back it up. I'm sure you could find out fucking Ian fucked up some shit, right? He just essentially admitted it 5 minutes ago. So, I mean, to sit there and come, I mean, you know what, dude? I'll give you your money back. How about that, bro?
You don't have to. You can.
It pisses me off, man. He's just like, I mean, look, it's a part of this pod. Look, I do this. This is what keeps the show going, and just insult my guest, and I'm not. Like, I feel uncomfortable taking your money now. So you know what? I'll make sure that your donation, because it's the first $10 donation, is given back to you. I promise you. And you know what? I'll block you from ever donating again, so you don't have this fucking problem and you get to interrupt me. All right, I'm triggered. You won. You got me. You didn't get Ian. Ian seems completely fucking relaxed. So Ian, keep going. I apologize. I apologize.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It's not your fault.
Okay.
I get it. It's a live environment. This is what.
No, I've never gotten taken. That was the first donation that pissed me off. I mean, I gotta guess. And look, that's a part of it. You gotta leave people to speak. But you know what? You call my guest a fraud. I know you're not going to come up with any material to do this. And then, you make it $10, so it makes it difficult for me to turn it down because this is how I make my living. But you know what? I'm a stubborn Irish prick, and I'm going to show you right now how stubborn I can be. All right? Ian, please continue because I am interested in what you have to say. Go ahead.
All right. So, the social justice community, I hate calling it that, game journalist community, we were all, I wouldn't say friends. I was friends with a number of people, a couple of people who I'm no longer friends with because their politics and mine don't jive and they don't want to talk to me anymore because of politics, which is weird because at the time, I still maintain my friendships with conservatives. I maintain my friendships with people who hate social justice wars, people who have huge access to grind, and rightly so. People like Brad Wardell, one of my good friends, right? He's the CEO of Stardock. He has been slandered, smeared in the games press as a sexual harasser, which is ridiculous. It was taken to court. He won. That person turned out to be a liar. Just wanted to bankrupt his company, right? An employee who didn't like the fact that he made Simpsons jokes and Family Guy jokes in the workplace, and ridiculous, right?
Really?
Yeah, that's a thing. Yeah, that's the thing. So anyway, this guy, I was friends with him even throughout Gamergate, which is an interesting thing. And it kind of showed me two sides. You have the normal people like Brett Wardell, doesn't matter what their politics are. And then you've got the social justice warriors who the only thing on their mind is their politics. They live their politics. The personal is political, right? They don't have anything outside of it. And they cannot associate with you if you have different views from them. And this is not to say that liberals are all social justice warriors. That's ridiculous.
No, that's not true. I know that myself.
Bunch of liberal. Exactly. Right.
That was something I needed. That was something I needed to learn. That not all liberals are social justice warriors. What is he? Okay, I don't know what's going on. Maybe guy. I hit. No, I don't think that's it. I don't think that's it at all. I think I actually hit the button while I was returning his money. And I am kind of blocking you, dude, because like not that the last two things for you, but it just pisses me off. Donor blocked, money returned. Have a nice fucking day. Look, make a video, dude. You don't like Ian's doing? Just make a video, man.
Yeah, make a video.
Make a video. Don't fucking like. What do you think you're gonna do? Oh, but Tommy, you took the money. Fuck off, dude. No. Send $100. I'll send it back. I promise you. But show. Look. Most YouTubers are scumbags. I completely agree with you. 100% agree with you. Try me. Send me $1,000. I'll send it back, unless I fucking cost me money.
I think the refund button is good to go.
Thanks so much, Veggie. I appreciate it. The other guy can eat dong. Now,
nice.
That's my community. That's my community right here. That's my community right here. You have a beef with Ian, take it up with him. Just call him a fraud. Fuck off, dude. Call him out.
Yeah, call me out on Twitter.
You triggered me more than you triggered him.
I'm used to it.
Yeah, I know.
I apologize to this guy, whoever the fuck he is. Probably one of my stalkers.
Yeah, I know.
I'm living rent-free in their head, as I like to say.
All right, so we get to 2015. You dropped the bomb. You put in an apology to gamers. The apology was not very political, if I remember correctly. To summarize it, it was basically, I just want to get back to writing about video games and why I love them. And I think The Witcher 3 came up. That was a really big game.
Came up, yeah. I wanted to speak about it. I was irritated by. Okay, so here's the prelude to it, right? I have friends who are not social justice warriors. I talk to them, and they keep pointing out how crazy this stuff is, right?
Yeah,
so
I got you.
I owe it to them. And some of them I'm no longer friends with, which is sad, But I'm friends with these people, and they help me out, and they show me what's going on. And meanwhile, the social justice warriors are just losing their minds over every other thing that comes out. Witcher 3 comes out. Biggest example is Witcher 3. They criticize the crap out of it, and not in a good way, but they lie about it. They're like, oh, this game is sexist because the women are dressed provocatively. It's like, that's not a real complaint. That's like a Puritan's complaint. I was never against, women dressing provocatively. I mean, what is this, the 1980s?
Well, have you noticed that with the left? When I was a kid, because, look, I grew up in a Reagan household, all right?
Yeah.
And they're a little more Victorian than the left. The left, to me, was always because I'm kind of I guess I'm like economically conservative, but like the way I carry my life would be more on the left. But that was the one cool thing about the left is when it came to things like art and sexuality, it was like, fuck you, we're going to do what we want. We're going to be gay. We're going to have as much sex as we want. It seems to be, since feminism has had so much influence on the left, again, as it did, almost like it did in the late 90s, like it's more puritanical.
It is.
Nobody's having sex. Nobody's like that's. I'm so glad I'm Gen X. I am so glad I didn't grow up with this shit. Right? I mean, I'll be honest with you. In high school, we had sex. In college, we had a lot of sex, and it wasn't always smart. But that's how we became adults. And I get the feeling that young guys, and I think it's easy to kind of pass them off as, oh, just being a bunch of soy boys and stuff like that. No, they grew up in a completely different environment than I did in the United States. And they're scared. They're scared of being accused rapers. They're scared
to be sexual. Yeah, even though many of them are horny as fuck.
Yeah.
They turn into creeps, right? They turn into real creeps because they don't know how to interact with women.
It's exactly. I don't even think it's their fault half the time. I do a Love Phones bit because I grew up radio. I'm a radio guy. I love radio and YouTube. And I do Love Phones, and that's a lot of, how do I open my mouth? How do I talk? And it always comes down to fear. Fear. And the thing is, it's easy for a guy, I'm an ex-soldier, get out there and talk, don't be such a pussy. There could be, I do always keep in mind, there could be real world consequences because, and you know this because you were on their team. Like, and they
That's
could be seriously, and they could be made an example of for somebody to virtue signal. And those consequences are permanent, not only from maybe a police record, but socially. Then you never get laid.
Socially is the big thing. You know? There are, like, I've known guys who act like creeps, and we would shame the fuck out of them. And, you know, in retrospect, it's like, yeah, what they did was creepy, but it's not to, you know, it didn't merit the response that we gave it.
Exactly.
You know, that's the big thing. It's like, okay, yeah, these guys are creepy. They are behaving weirdly around women. They make people feel really uncomfortable. They're like overly sexual. But imagine if they were somebody else. Imagine if they weren't part of our clique, right? Imagine if they were, they held cake parties or something. Imagine they were one of those dudes. Would anybody give a shit? No. No one would care. It would be like, oh yeah, that guy, he likes to sleep around. Big fucking deal, right? Just watch out for him. You know, if you're into that, whatever, he's an alpha, you know?
Somebody wrote, and be a rapper, you can get away with it. I do find that, I think I know what he's getting at. It does seem that minorities displaying sexuality and displaying your sexuality. I mean, I grew up in the MTV generation where we were trying to, like, look, if you're homosexual, it's displaying your homosexuality, your sexuality in general, is not a bad thing.
Not a big deal.
Which, by the way, that took a long time to take hold. You know, when I was 15, I was like, that's fucked up. But you know, you grow, you think about this,
you become accepting.
And now the tables have totally turned. You know what? Display your section out. Go out and suck a dick. Enjoy yourself. You know, and because that's all I'm trying to do. And we're both human beings. Now it's flipped. Now I can't say I like big tits. What the fuck happened? I actually know what it's like to be gay, and I'm not even gay. It's just, it's fucking amazing. You know, like, what the fuck? I mean, people call me all the time. It's like, yeah, girls really. You're a creepy old man, aren't you? What the fuck, dude? I'm a man.
You're not allowed to say that anymore. You can't comment or criticize women's. God forbid you do that, right?
Yeah, right. Thank you, Jesus. I totally appreciate it, man. Wow, the donations are coming in. I do appreciate it so much. So, all right. 2015 comes out. The apology.
I was irritated. I was fucking irritated. Okay, so before 2015, there were events. I think once in 2014 or 2013. They had decided collectively before they loved BioShock Infinite. They were like, "Oh, this game is so intelligent. It's really smart. It's really well written. The gameplay maybe sucks a little bit, but it's a well written game, right?" That's what everybody was saying. It was a consensus. It was Game of the Year. And then a year passes, and they all decide that the game is racist because, oh, you know, the Antifa group in there, the Vox Populi, they're depicted in a way that's unflattering to Antifa, you know? And they're all suddenly, you know, fucking cosplayers now for socialism and communism. They decide that's a bad
cosplayers. I love No, because they really don't know. They talk revolution, but they don't know what it's like. They talk fighting in the street, but they have no idea what spilling blood in the street is like. They don't even have an inkling, like what they're asking for. I guess this leads to my next question: why are so many young white men attracted to this group who actually hates their guts? Like, where do they get off? Like what
several reasons, you know, first reason is it's an easy way to score pussy, right? You want to.
I don't believe that. I don't think you score. I think you go in there thinking you're going to get pussy and you get none.
Women think that's disgusting. Women are going for guys who are not fucking fucked in the head, right?
Yeah,
most women don't care about these dudes. These dudes are political. They're weird. You know, they're really weirdly political, and they come off as disingenuous because whether they're honest with themselves or not, when they're spouting off their Marxisms, no one takes it seriously. First of all, it sounds like a cliche, right? They sound like cliches, talking cliches. Secondly, if they are sincere, they're really fucking creepy because they sound like cultists.
Yeah, right? That's just true.
And either they sound dishonest or they sound really creepy. So no one really likes these guys, but they think it's a way in. They think, you know, like maybe they like a girl who's into it.
But so they don't get in, is my point. They never get it. They think they're getting in, but they're never going to get in. They're never going to get in. In fact, most of those times, in my experience anyway, those girls are going to fuck the guys that they bitch about.
Yeah,
you know. I'm gonna read this. This comes from Total Biscuit's Legacy of Collateral Damage of Gamergate. Excuse me if I get this name off. Franzusa and Dora. This is this article that came out in Forbes yesterday. Listen to this. One of the most important things to Bane, according to Rod Braslew, Slasher.
Breslau? Yeah.
Yeah, Braslew. I used to listen to DJ Wheat's fucking podcast with him religiously.
I'm friends with Rod, by the way.
Rod is great. I wish I.
He's amazing, dude.
He follows me on Twitter, and he has no idea what a big deal it is to me because I listen to Live on 3, which was him, DJ Wheat, who works for
DJ Wheat and him.
That got me into esports.
He's a Twitch guy. Yeah, he's a Twitch director.
Yeah, now he is. Now he is. Before he was involved with esports back in the 90s, like like early esports, like Fatality era.
Yeah,
you know,
Quake. When Quake, he was doing Quake. Not Quake Champions, but like Quake 3 Arena.
Quake 3, Quake 2, 3, 4. That game that they forced down everybody's throats, they made Jonathan Wendell play. I forget the name of that. It was a first-person, but it was basically a Quake clone. But they were trying to, get a hold of the system themselves. And you know what? I want to say this right now. Everybody looked at me, and I'm going to promote this. And it's because I'm a Citrus fan, and he's a Gen X guy. Fatality for Friday Night Fortnite. That's what I want. Keemstar, I know you hate my guts. He's a fucking legend. Jonathan Wendell Fatality, who basically everybody owes their fucking ass, including FaZe Clan, belongs on Friday Night Fortnite. And Jonathan, if you find out what I'm saying, ask Keem. You belong there. Friday Night Fortnite for Fatality. Okay, let's get back to the interview. I want a guy close to my age competing in Friday Night Fortnite because I do enjoy it. All right. Look into that. He's a legend.
Is it Keemstar your age?
No, he's a little younger than me. Everybody's younger than me, pal.
Am I younger than you? I mean,
yes, you are. 10 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, what are you, 32? 31?
34.
34. Well, you're about Keemstar's age. You're around there. Yeah, Keemstar's 30, between 34 and 36, something like that. All right, let me get back to this because I have a feeling me and you could bullshit all day.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, according to Rod, his reputation and his audience trusted him, making it more tragic if Bane was remembered more for fake news and inadvertently legitimizing harassment campaign. Clearly, Bane did not do enough to atone for his perceived Gamergate sins. And if there is a lesson of all of this, it's that one must make peace and settle any internet beef you have with feminists while you are still living. History is written by the victors after all. If that isn't a religious statement, I don't know what the fuck is. And here's my question to you, and I actually wrote this up. Is SJWism, for lack of a better word, a religion?
Yes, it is.
Wow.
It's a cult.
That's crazy, dude.
Yeah,
you really
it's nuts. Like, what make your peace?
That couldn't be easy for you to say because nobody wants to say they were a part of a cult, And you're a smart guy,
Yeah.
And one of the things I want to point out is it's easy to point out people. Oh, they're so stupid. They got involved in the cult. Man, look at some of the people in the Church of Scientology. They're not all idiots.
Yeah, they're all. Many of them are smart people. I mean, look at what's the one the lady who did the documentary for Netflix? She came out.
The one that did the red pill, what was her name?
No, I'm not talking about. No, I'm talking about like Scientology. God, I can't remember the actress.
Yeah. I know what her name. She came out. I can't remember her name. I don't watch regular. She did mainstream TV. She did normie content.
She did mainstream TV.
But the one I did watch was Going Clear, which was a documentary that came out 2-3 years ago. What the hell? And I don't think she had split by then. But yeah, I mean, she's not an idiot. I know who you're talking about.
No.
I can't remember her name. And it's gonna pop. Leah Remini. Yes.
Yeah,
Brooklyn, a nice Jewish Brooklyn girl. She's not an idiot.
No, she's not.
She's ridiculous. Actually, her brains actually got her out, to be honest with you, because she was by the book. She was almost German about everything the way she did in Scientology, and that's one of the things that let her out was the hypocrisy. So I mean, the idea that you're just stupid. I mean, the American founding fathers were deeply religious people. The idea.
Well, some of them were deists.
You think so?
Oh yeah, like George Washington was a deist. Ben Franklin, not a deist.
But they're spiritual people. They're spiritual people.
Spiritual people, definitely very, very, very spiritual people. Even the deists are very spiritual people. They believe they
dumb.
Had a purpose of some sort. So
they weren't dumb people. I mean, it's so easy. One of my biggest beefs with atheists, and certainly it's not all of them, and I align myself. Not ideologically, but feelings-wise, I feel the same way they do. One of the easiest easiest way to be dismissive is to say somebody's stupid, with not really a lot to back it up. People that get caught up in certain types of ideologies always go into the best of intentions. And as somebody, and this is going to sound crazy, who spent next week in 3 days, I'm 13 years in Germany. right? So I was married to 2 German women, and I met their grandparents. Everybody thought they were doing the right thing.
Yeah.
It didn't dawn on them.
That's the trick, right?
Yeah, that's right. Everybody thought they were doing the right thing, and it didn't dawn on them until they looked back. And then so many family members had to die. You know, I remember my ex-wife, my ex-wife's grandfather, who's still alive now. He was in Hitler Youth, right? Yeah. And he the way he saw it at the time, wow, I'm finally getting treated like a man, and I'm 15. You know, right. They made him a soldier. He's a victim. You know,
he's a victim. Yeah.
He's a victim. You know, and it's the idea that you can dismiss people for getting involved in organizations. Everybody, nobody got into National Socialism in the 1930s and said, "I'm going to be evil." No, it's not like that.
No one did that. Not even Hitler did that.
And you didn't do that either. Is my point. You probably wanted to help people, and then this is kind of a must to sort of move up in the gaming community.
It's a mentality. Yeah, it's a mentality it puts you in. And, you know, with social justice, you start seeing victims everywhere, right? You see people who are oppressed. You got to speak out on behalf of them, right?
Sure.
Or defend them. And it leaches into real life. Like, this is how bad it gets, okay? When I was in the social justice crew, I guess you could call it, I would get into arguments with people in real life. They would like misgender someone, and I would get triggered by it.
Oh my God!
I would get offended. Yeah, I'd be like, "Oh, you can't say that. Look at what the oppressions they face. You know, it's so hard for them. So the very least that you could do, even if you don't like this person, is to respect their pronouns. You know, it's like, now I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. If someone's a rotten person, fuck them. You know, I don't care. It's not a big deal. Like, they're misgendering them. It's the least of their fucking problems. They got issues, man. You know.
But I mean, all right. Your relationships are going to change. You know, guys like Mundane Matt, Chris, and Chris, they're your enemies, and now they're slowly becoming your friends. Were you able to keep some of your SJWs or people on the left's friends and still hold those relationship, or was it basically all downhill? No. You don't talk to anybody anymore.
I don't talk to any of them anymore. Like maybe there's like
not one guy stuck with you.
Not even one. Yeah.
Running Riot. I want you to hear this. Not one guy.
Yeah. Not one of them. Like
not one.
The only friends who are like liberal, you know, who I was friends with as an SJW, they're not even there because of politics, right? I wasn't friends with them because of politics. I knew them before I became an SJW, and then even afterwards, I'm still their friends, right? Those people I don't count, right? They're not SJWs and never part of the group. They're people I knew from a long time ago. But SJWs, no, none of them are my friends. Not one, not a single one. It's insane.
It is a cult or a religion or something. You know, I say this a lot. The smartest thing I think I ever heard in my life was from a guy named Anton LaVey. If you're not familiar with him, he was the head and founder of the Church of Satan. And supposedly he was caught making comments that sort of aligned him with atheist ideology. And he said, "Wait a minute, you're the head of the Church of Satan. You're not supposed to be an atheist." He's like, "Yeah, whatever." And then he was questioned, like, "Well, if you're an atheist, why the show? Why the Church of Satan? Why all this work?" And he simply snapped back and he said, "Because people need ritual."
People need ritual.
Yeah, they do. True. And you know what? I don't care if you're an atheist. You're going to fulfill it. You know, look, TJ, I would say Amazing Atheist is an atheist. But I think what's cathartic for him, if I had to guess, is basically doing what he does. He loves.
That's
he likes
his ritual.
That's the ritual. In some guys, it's the New York Rangers. You know, in some guys, it's video games. Ritual will be fulfilled. It will be. I think it balances your life. Whether you believe in a higher power or something like that, whatever. Whether it's a political ideology or higher power, you're really into sports, ritual will be fulfilled. If you really look, I think if you really strip down any individual, nobody is without ritual, including me. And I consider myself a devout atheist, if there's such a thing. You know?
I'm a deist, and I think that the world is a simulation. No, that sounds crazy.
What is that? Is it deist? What is that, like fucking Matrix, some type of shit? Like, the fuck is that? Come on, I'm not as well educated with you. What is deist?
A deist is someone who believes in, like, there is a creator, right? But that creator isn't necessarily touching our lives, right? I don't believe
he doesn't have time for us.
Watching us masturbate every night.
How self-centered of us to think that there's some master intellect out there that's worrying about somebody whacking off.
I don't believe in that, but I do believe that there is maybe a design, maybe a designer, right? Maybe the design itself doesn't make any sense. It's up for us to figure that one out. But there is a designer behind it. That's what I think, right? I can't back it up. Just like you can't back up atheism. Someone can't back up their belief in Jesus. Whatever,
nobody
right?
can. Nobody can do anything of this
unless
sort.
they're like really crazy or something. They're like, I saw Jesus himself, right?
Yeah,
So,
I'm sure I've met a few of those. You know, whatever.
So
okay,
so being a simulation, the idea is it's like Elon Musk described that basically it's a matter of probability, right? It's no proof that we're in a simulation, but within like 10,000 years, we're going to develop a simulation that is very much like real life, and it would be indistinguishable from real life. So the probability of us being in one of those is pretty high, right?
Yeah, I would imagine.
Yeah, so it's just a matter of probability, and it's nothing you can really help it, but it does explain a few weird things, like when you're on the same wavelength with somebody else, maybe you fall in love with them, they fall in love with you at the same time. It's kind of weird, or when synchronicity happens,
Sure.
like deja vu, or you're doing something and it completely gels with what's going on elsewhere, and it's kind of weird. You notice it, right? It's a
I know.
syndrome.
Even my fuck ups, like getting divorced and stuff, led to, like, if I didn't fuck up my life, I wouldn't have joined the army when I was 27, and I wouldn't have got here and married somebody and had a daughter, and then got divorced and had my son and be where I am now. It's like even my screw ups seem to work out in the end. There is a sort of synchronicity to it. If you don't let life beat you down, and you
can't let life beat you down, because you always have a choice. That's the thing. People who believe in predestination, whatever it's called, they think that everything is fated, right? That you can't change the future. But I don't believe.
I don't buy that. I couldn't live like that. It's the same thing that they tell Neo. You don't like the idea. I didn't like the idea that if I had to explain fate, I'm going to get a little religious here. Fate is like current. You're going to where you get, but it doesn't mean you can't swim left or right or against the current itself. That will change the course, but ultimately, I guess we all get to the same place. It's not that we don't have any control; it's that the way you swim to the end is going to be 100% different for everybody. That's the way I see fate now. Whereas I used to see fate is the way Neo saw it in the Matrix. It's just something I don't like that. I hate that idea that I don't have any control. What's the point? I want to blow my brains out. What the fuck? It's a horrible way to look at the world.
You don't have the option to blow your brains out. Let's put it that way.
It's like exactly. Like I don't like the idea that I don't have an impact in my world. But I mean, I've noticed like the way life is like sometimes good decisions end up bad and bad decisions end up good. It's just that way. Yep. And you really don't get any perspective. I've lived 41 years. You don't get any perspective on anything until you live 10 years after the event. I'm completely convinced of it at this point in my life. And you're getting into your mid-30s and you're looking back. You know what? I didn't have shit right when I was 24. I looked at the world differently. It's just the way it goes. All right, I want to get back into, because we do sidetrack a lot. This interview we do, and we only have 15 minutes left. And maybe we could do it again sometime if you get some time.
Absolutely. I'm down.
All right. So you make this announcement. The announcement is relatively innocuous. I'm just going to get back to game journalism. Okay?
That's right.
That's where I'm going. What happens? Like, what's the fallout? I mean,
the fallout is, obviously Sargon makes this video. He supports me. A lot of people. I was actually talking to Liz Finnegan at the time. She's one of the driving forces for why I released that letter. I just started to realize that, okay, Gamergaters are not the bad people that we have been painting them to be, right? And because the SJWs that I used to be friends with noticed that I'm talking to her publicly. They notice that I'm interacting with Gamergate supporters publicly. They start sending me DMs, right? A bunch of them start sending me DMs telling me it's not a good look. You can't be talking to these people. Like, so what? I can't have friends now? Is that what the deal is? Yeah. That's one of the things that it pisses me off. It really pisses me off when people, are trying to judge me based on who I'm friends with. Like they're telling me you cannot be friends with this person, you cannot speak to this person. It doesn't look good for our cause.
It's called like that. It doesn't feel very liberal either. Liberal means
it's fucked up. No, it's fascist.
That's what it is.
It's straight up fascist.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Beyond that, I see people whispering about me. There are little whisper campaigns. So I do a little search Twitter function, type in my name, boom. There's like 1,000 different people talking shit about me, and they're not Gamergaters. They're all people who I thought I might have been friends with. I lose like 1,000 followers in one day.
Were you ever friends with Steve Shives?
No, I never knew the guy.
I just wanted to know. I just wanted to throw that out there. But keep going. This story's interesting. I didn't mean to interrupt you. So how do you feel? Like, how does that make you feel? I mean, your world's got to be rattling a little bit.
Fucking upset. Yeah, and the people I'm talking to, like my friends, the ones who I realize are like my real friends, They're telling me, okay, these people were never your friends. You know, like I understand you're upset and you're pissed off, and that this is really heartbreaking. But now you know, right? Now you fucking know, right?
Yeah.
What the deal is, and you know who to be friends with, who not to be friends with, and you know that these people, they're only friends with you, in the sense that you supported their movement. They don't care about you. They don't know who you are. They don't want to know you, and they're lying about you now. And this is not just my friend saying this. This is what I know to be true, right? And that really opened my eyes. I saw a lot of people who I thought I could, at least be on good terms with, even if we disagreed. But no, they were shit talking me. Everybody was just shit talking me. It was like a bandwagon of hate. And that's what they do. I don't notice this with any other group, which is the funny thing. And when you're in a conservative circle, even a MAGA circle, or in the anti-SJW side, or like YouTube, whatever, people don't really take sides. Like some people do take sides, but most people, they just do their own thing, and they realize, okay, these two people have a beef, no big fucking deal. I'm not gonna, involve myself in it. I'm not gonna take a side on this. That's what most drama is, like normal drama. Like two people don't like each other. Let's say Tonka doesn't like Andy, for example. No big deal, no one's taking any sides. It's just whatever.
I think he feels like he's. If I had to comment, I think he feels bad for Andy. It's just Andy's put Tonka in a terrible position. That's
right. Yeah. I like in this case, I've talked to Tonka a lot. I support Tonka. This is the thing.
I want to go. This is the guy I think had donated to Running Riot drinking game. Every time Ian says SJW, he never does name the person. It's just a mysterious group of SJWs. I mean, the thing.
You want me to name people? I'll say Zoe Quinn. I'll say Catherine Cross. I'll say the people who run those fucking accounts that always tweet into people's timelines. Inner Partisan, Matt Myers. These are the crazy people. These are the people who you see get thousands of retweets. They're the people I'm talking about.
Did you have a relationship? Did you have relationships with them at any point, or did you?
Oh, absolutely. I was in Zoe Quinn's group. Crash Override Network. All these people were in there. Like, you can look at the chat logs if you can actually find them still. They're probably on 8chan somewhere. I was friends with all these people. Peter Coffin, for example, I got him a job at a place.
Are you happy Running Riot? You think he's just making this up? Because this goes to the thing is when you attack the left, then SJWs don't exist. It's an invention of these crazy right-wing critics. I mean, Running Riot, I got to be honest with you, you're idiotic. I mean, it was well established. I remember when Ian was a part of this. Yeah, I remember. I think you praised Arthur Schuett. If you had exchanges with each other at some point, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, we had exchanges. He was in that group, not very active, but he was in there, right?
He was in there. So, like, the idea, I mean, if anybody's in denial of Running Riot, you are, because this is well established. If he's being general, he's speaking. If you say he's being too general, he's speaking generally. I mean, like, I don't know what the fuck you want. If you want to sit there and believe there's no such thing as SJWs, and somehow SJW, look, and we freely admitted there's a difference between a liberal and SJW, but that's not enough. That's not enough.
You got to single people out. Like, okay, there's dozens and hundreds of people, actually, hundreds of people in this group. Many of them are games journalists. Some of them are games developers. People like Rami Ismail, for example. They're all in cahoots with each other. Not necessarily.
And that was proven without a shadow of a doubt. Because they had the gaming. That was proven without a shadow of a doubt that the game
journal pros
competing publications were conspiring with each other.
Recently, Jezebel, Jezebel.com.
Sure, of course.
Outed a similar group of not necessarily SJWs, but liberals, right? But liberals who lean closely to the SJW side in journalism, academics and journalists talking about the trans issue. And they got outed because Jezebel didn't like their politics. So it's still happening. It's still fucking happening. There are many different groups. There's so many of these groups. I've been a part of them. They exist. And it's hard for me to say, oh yeah, this one guy. Oh, so it's individuals acting, independently. It's really not. It's really not individuals acting independently. It's a group of people who are acting.
It's like a confederacy. It's a confederacy of thought. If I had to put it that way. It's a
confederacy of thought. Yeah, exactly. Like how do you think people like Lauren Southern got banned from Patreon? It wasn't because one guy reported her. No.
It was like a group effort.
Yeah, Sargon gets banned from Twitter multiple times, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's SJWs who get him banned. Sometimes it's the alt-right. Alt-right also has these groups. It's not people acting.
Oh yeah, the alt-right definitely has these groups for sure. I mean, I've seen it myself.
They're acting as groups. Yeah,
they do have it. And isn't it shocking how much they are alike? The alt-right and the SJWs. How their behavior is so similar, and it is. But I mean, I got to be honest with you, Running Riot. If you made that donation, you have done yourself no favors in this conversation whatsoever. They do exist, but they're really overblown. Well, I don't know. Obama made a change to Title IX. That had a definite impact on college students' lives in the United States. That was, if it was ever clearly an SJW rule or law, that would have probably been their most shining moment. And a lot of this stuff doesn't even happen until, I got to be honest with you, 2012, or I would say like 2010 and 11 are completely different years politically than 2012, 13, and 14. Completely different years. The world changed. And
the world changed.
It's because of them, and this is the backlash.
And Obama was backing them up as well.
Absolutely backing them up. Obama's supposed to be this classical liberal. No, he wasn't. He was the one that made the Title IX change.
Yep.
You know, that's what. If you really want to pinpoint the moment when the left got out of control, that really is it for me. It's the Title IX change, a law that was created so women's sports would be spent equally as men's sports, turned into your English teacher is putting you on trial, not the cops. You're not getting arrested. You're not going to jail. But your English teacher is going to decide whether you raped a girl or not. Oh, and by the way, you can't cross-examine your accuser.
Yeah, because
and if you don't do this, if you don't put this kangaroo court together, you can lose your federal funding.
Yep.
That's what happened.
I'm glad Betsy DeVos got rid of it. You know, I'm fucking glad.
Yeah, well, I was hoping fucking Trump dumps it all together, but yeah. But anyway, I don't want to get back to
just going back to SJWs and people are saying, oh, it's overblown. Yeah, maybe some people overblow it.
I would
people
agree
do
with
it
that.
in proportion. Like when you see I don't know, maybe a lesbian character in a video game, say Last of Us 2, right? That's a big thing that people talk about. They're like, oh, this is SJWs coming in. To an extent, yes. But they're also doing it in a way that's not SJWE, so it's not like such a big deal. So you shouldn't make a big fuss out of it. No one's forcing you to buy the game. That is an instance of people blowing SJWism out of proportion. I think
I would agree with that. I mean, if you're just yelling fake news and SJW all the time, you're not worth listening to. Any more than you're calling somebody alt-right or Nazi all the time, you're not worth listening to.
Exactly.
Or calling somebody a hack without anything to really back it up. I would pull that in the same. Put that in the same breath.
The real SJWs, right? The real issue that people should be worried about is workplace issues, code of conduct issues. This is where SJWs actually matter. Right? This is what they're actually controlling. When they go to Mozilla, when they go to GitHub, they go to all these tech companies in Silicon Valley, they're implementing the quote-unquote code of conduct. It is basically an SJW guide. Yeah. And if you don't follow it, you're
fired.
You're fired. Yeah, you're fucking fired. You're a conservative.
Well, this is what Jordan Peterson's talking about. This is Jordan Peterson. They say, well, this is. I remember that guy in Vice interviewed him. An Asian dude in Vice. He interviewed him and said, well, this is really left on the college campuses. No, it's not. It's our human resources departments.
It's in human resources
departments. Are you fucking kidding me? Who
hires these people from colleges? Yeah.
Yeah.
They all hired them. They hired them out. I have a story. I can't really divulge names here, but it's a guy at Microsoft. He was getting promoted to be he was the only one capable of taking the role of a directorial position at the company, right? But because of their code of conduct policies and their diversity policies, he could not get the job because they needed to interview a woman and a black man at the same time as him, and they couldn't find any candidates who were women or black men.
Yeah.
So he didn't get the job. He couldn't get the job that he was fully qualified for.
My brother finished in the top 10% for an FBI job, and I do believe to this day that it didn't take because he was white.
Yep, that happens.
I don't know how do you get to be a fucking Virginia Tech grad? He's a solid student at Virginia Tech, and then go in there, finish in the top 10%, and then you go up for your lie detector test, and they ask you, have you ever downloaded an MP3? No, they needed a minority. Exactly. The first time he showed up, they were like, "What are you doing here?" Wait a minute, I got. My brother's a responsible dude. He's not a fucking idiot. He's not a drug addict or dope or a moron on YouTube like his brother is. Well, I'm not a drug addict, but you get the idea.
I know, I get what you're saying.
But he shows up for the meeting, and he says, "Yeah, I'm here." And then this is my. He had the paperwork, everything else. He's like, "What are you doing here?" Well, we don't have anything. We don't know anything about it.
Wow.
We'll come back so much today. First question out of their mouth. By the way, before they actually strapped the thing on him, they said, "Have you ever downloaded an MP3?" By the way, it's a federal crime because of copyright infringement. And he says, of course, I'm Gen X. I was born in 1980, and we were in college. We downloaded MP. Napster came out, and so well, you better not go in there, because if you lie in there, it's you go to jail, and that was the end of it. I'm absolutely sure. Absolutely sure that has everything to do with the fact. And the worst part is, we're not even fucking Protestants. We're like Irish Catholic, and like we're like a low man on the white man. If there's such a thing, we're the low man on the white man totem pole. I know. And it is. I mean, right and right says, oh, you're claiming oppression. No, I think I don't even blame those FBI officers. They're probably just doing what the fuck they're told to keep their jobs.
Yeah, they're told.
I don't even blame them.
Maintain a quota. You gotta hire some Muslim women, right? You can't hire a white man because we filled up a quota of white men. Same with Harvard, right? They turn away a lot of Asian students, whether it's men or women. They turn them away
fucked up too.
And they say, "Oh, your attitude. We don't like your attitude."
Exactly. Do the same thing. You know what? You're too fucking smart to be here. That's what it is.
That's some horseshit, right?
Yeah,
and
of course.
And now they're being sued for it. Harvard's being fucking sued for it because they told a bunch of Asians we don't like your attitude. And all these Asians got together and were like, wait, so you're rejected too? And what did they tell you they didn't like about you? Oh, your attitude? Fuck, man. Like, I was popular in high school. What the fuck is this about my attitude?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't like your attitude. I don't like the fact that you're going to outperform absolutely everybody. That's what it is. That is. And
set the quota at 30%. For Asian.
Yeah, I know. And you're and Asians. Well, you have an American accent, and you live in Malaysia, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, I lived in Malaysia.
You lived or you live in Malaysia?
No, I live right now in Malaysia.
You live in Malaysia.
But, picking up American accents, that's because I watch too much TV.
Yeah. I got a buddy from Kuwait. He sounds like he's from South Jersey. Are you ever going to leave? I mean, it's
I plan to. Yeah,
is it restrictive in Malaysia as far as?
What?
I always thought you were American. I didn't know until like a year ago that you weren't American.
It's pretty chill over here. It's pretty chill.
Oh, you like it? There's no.
Yeah, like it. Yeah. The only thing I don't like about it is the fact that there is a 200 ms ping lag when I play online games.
Then you gotta move.
It's like Rainbow Six. You
gotta move. You gotta move. Have you ever been to Europe or the United States as on vacation or something?
Yeah, I've been to the U.S. to California.
Yeah.
Not been to Europe though. Yeah.
Yeah, you've been. If you're in Germany, let me know. All right. Politics. Yeah. You went through the whole thing. You lost friends. You made new ones. I think this is a compliment. You were kind of my replacement for Milo when Milo got kicked off of Twitter. The guys, it was. I really, from an entertainment standpoint, I really liked Milo. You've done some work for him and his.
I've done some work for him. I no longer work for him, but I did some work for him early in the year. Late last year.
Are you still with Heat Street or Daily Caller? Or are you independent now completely?
I still write occasionally for Daily Caller. I do writing here and there on different websites, but mostly I'm trying to focus on YouTube and Twitch now. Okay. Like that's my new thing.
You're going solo like Tim Pool, huh?
Yeah, I'm going solo like Tim Pool. It's more liberating. It's more fun to talk about what I want to talk about without an editor breathing down my neck, saying, oh, yeah, you can say this or whatever.
I imagine. And you can do it in your own time, too. So I know all about that.
The only issue is that because you're your own boss, it's also like the worst issue because if you don't push yourself hard enough, you're not producing content. Whereas if you're working for somebody else, you're always, under that, the watchful gaze of someone who tells you what to do.
I find myself more stressed without a boss, but it's a good stress, not a bad stress. It's like, I got to do something today or I'm not going to get any laughs. And if I don't get laughs, that means no donations. That means I got to get a real job. It is a weird, but it's a positive pressure. It's a good pressure. It's like, get your ass down there, get to work. The only downside is I spent a lot of time I've since baited, I've gained about 45 fucking pounds. Since this whole thing kind of took over from me.
I've lost 30 pounds since January. I'm
what are you
on a
doing?
Weight loss thing.
What are you
doing? I just eat well. I'm not doing keto. I'm not doing keto. That stuff makes you stink, by the way. No, I work out a little bit. I work out a couple of times a week, and I eat very well. I don't eat snacks. Like sometimes I'll eat a snack and then I'll gain a pound, and it's like, oh god.
I have a co-host. He's got a body like John Cena, and I'm not exaggerating. And he sent me. When because I'm still technically on vacation. When my wife gets back in the middle of the week, we're basically getting rid of all the shit and going by his diet. Yeah, so I mean, it's just
follow it. Yeah, follow it, and make sure to drink a lot of water. Hydrate.
I don't have time to run for an hour. Most of my news teams in the States, so I I would have to run for an hour, then take my kid out. All right, I have to get up at 6, run by 6:05, get back. Then I have to say goodbye to my wife, take my kid to daycare, then get back at 9 by 9. Right, I'll probably be exhausted by this point anyway, at least for the first couple of weeks. Then I only have from 9 to 3 to work, whether put a show together or stream, video game wise. Which I don't have a huge video game following because I suck. It's really just people tune in to. About 20 people tune in to fucking goof on me, you know, and I love it though. I mean, I love gaming, so
it's fun.
Doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it's fun.
Great, it's good stuff. I don't know. I gotta eat well because I really don't have the time.
Yeah, eating well is okay. So the thing that my coach taught me,
I know what it takes to work out. I was in the army.
80%.
I don't have time for that
is eating,
shit.
20% is working out.
Yeah,
that's the thing that people who work out too much, they won't tell you this. Okay, some of them won't tell you this because they're probably trying to deceive themselves.
By the way, you're 100% right because I was in the army. I was the same way. You always had to think like, and it helps. By the way, it works. To get you in that mode because you want to keep going to the gym. If you just say eating's most of it, then what the fuck should I go to the gym today for?
Well, why are you wasting your time running? For like what?
What am I doing?
You can just eat better, maybe not eat so much. Yeah, that would be good enough. Yeah, you don't have to run, right? The only reason to work out and running is just part of it is to build up your muscles, right? To maybe get some muscle definition in your arms, in your upper body, so you don't look like a schlub, right? That's the only reason to work out, in my opinion, and that's a good reason to work out, mind you. I'm not putting it down. I think it's great to look good.
Yeah,
right?
Sure. But I mean, the thing is, all right. Hey, listen, I'm gonna yell at somebody in the chat because this is what I do. Hey, Daniel Sims, I was unbaited and I was in the army, and this fucking show is about me. It's about fucking me. And the guy I'm interviewing, the guys I'm hanging out with. So that's what happened to me. If you don't like it, get the fuck out of here. You got it? Get the fuck out. Fucking get bent. Get hit by a car. Touch the third rail. Got it? It's about me. Got it? That's it. And I'm having a guest. He's coming to my show. And now we're talking about him. You get it? Oh, he talked about beta. He talked about my... That's me. If you don't like it, fuck off. Have a nice day. All right, Ian. Sorry. Had to do that.
Nice.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
And we were talking. Yeah, I think that I do think that's a big part of it, eating. But I know to complete the whole thing, you definitely have to work out. You have to do something.
Oh, you definitely have to. Yeah, like when you're like almost there, you're gonna have to do a little bit of working out to get that extra push. Otherwise, it's gonna take forever, right?
Yeah.
It's better to have that 20%.
Well, you know what I tell some of these kids?
Seem like much.
All the top esports guys work out like fucking madmen.
Oh fuck yeah, they do. Yeah, they do.
I mean,
they do.
You really, I tell kids that a lot too. It's like, hey, look, you want to get good. Like, I mean, a lot. Ninja looks like he's skinny, but he doesn't look. He doesn't look like he's indulging. He's got.
He's not skinny fat. Yeah, it's not like he's snacking.
Yeah, I had a similar build to him in my 20s too. Like I was because I was playing hockey 3 times a week. Yeah. And so I think that's important. Like, for and I don't think there's anything with wanting to be a pro gamer. I don't want to jump. I don't want to dump on that. And I'm glad, like, because if I'd said that in 1991, they probably would have put me in a psychiatrist's office. There's no pro gaming out there. There is. Now there is.
Yeah. No,
but
there is.
Really, you have to. You can't. It's like you can do the shortcut way. You can fucking load yourself with Adderall, or you can fucking work out and eat right, and be sharp. Yep. And you know what? If you have the talent, because it's one of these things that are literally God-given, and that's coming from an atheist, it'll show. It'll show quick too. But eat right and that, and the rest of us, like me and Ian, that wish we could do that, we'll be rooting for you.
If you are of a certain weight, let's say you're over 200 pounds and your ideal weight is about 170 or something, just by eating right, within a couple of weeks, every single day you will drop like a pound. I guarantee it.
I also smoke I smoke and drink like a fish too.
You should definitely not drink, but smoking, I smoke.
Well, they got me on the fucking e-cigarette now. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're using the vapes.
Well, I was having a problem with it, but then I realized because I'm such a heavy smoker, my mother-in-law said no, because you only have 6 milligrams of tobacco. You need the 12, and I'm like, really? Am I that fucked up? As soon as I love this thing now. It's fucking great. I'm enjoying myself.
It's good, right? The 6, it's like what? You're vaping water. Yeah, you're vaping water.
Yeah, exactly. It was almost too much shit came out, right? And I was like coughing and stuff. Now I'm like,
coughing and shit.
I couldn't be fucking happier. Michael McCrudden. It's not candy pens, by the way, but I do. I love it. I fucking love it. All right. Let's talk about fun stuff, and then we'll end the podcast.
All right.
I do appreciate you getting on because I only do an hour. State of gaming. Where are we going? I mean, no politics aside. Fuck politics. Where are you at with state of gaming nowadays?
State of gaming, man, I'm playing so much Rainbow Six Siege these days.
Yeah, everybody's telling me to play that. It doesn't stream
Dude,
that
it
well.
is so good. Like, okay, when it first launched, it was crap, right?
Yeah,
it was
that's
very
true.
imbalanced. The frame rate was shit. You know, the server performances was shit. And now it is perhaps the best esport out there. Not just as an esport, it's just fun as fuck to watch, fun as fuck to play.
The bombing in the walls is brilliant. It's almost like the building, and it really, there is something there. I'll give you that.
And there's so much skill to it, you know. With other games, you know, if you play a lot of Quake, then those skills don't really carry over, except for like your aiming, because you can't just be rushing for it. You have to be really tactical.
Sure.
You have to be peeking around corners. You have to make sure, you know, when you first start playing, it's all going to be about the aim and knowing your position, right?
Sure.
But as you keep playing, you're going to learn the operators, how each of them operates. Like, okay, this guy's got this skill, and it's good, you know. So you learn how to use the different operators.
And it's not like skills like in Overwatch. It's like you're talking about individual people skills.
Individual people skills.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Like Overwatch is like whatever, right? Overwatch is stupid. Overwatch is dumb.
Oh, come on, don't say that. I love Overwatch. I really do.
It's a fun, pastime, but as an esport, it doesn't really work. It's not really well balanced.
Visually, no. The problem with Overwatch is, no, I think it's a great esport. The problem is you have to play Overwatch. It's not like a fighting game. Fighting games are the best esports to watch. So if you see it, you get what's going on. You don't even have to play the game. You know what's going on. The problem with Overwatch is you have to sit down for a game or two, and then you can really appreciate it. Yeah. And I think that's an obstacle to overcome.
That's a big obstacle. It's not really that much fun to watch to begin with. But Overwatch is like...
Yeah, I don't know. I have a soft spot for Overwatch.
Matches take too long, and you're shooting a guy, it takes like forever to kill him.
Well, with the league, the problem I have with the league is that league should only last 3 months. Tops. Yeah. I mean, the league is too long. I lost interest. I even bought a New York Excelsior shirt. I mean, it's just going on and way too much drama.
Way too much drama for so little attention given to it. I mean, compare that to Rainbow Six Siege. Have you ever heard of drama going on with it? I've not. And yet it's one of the biggest esports right now, right?
Can I ask you about something about that to flip back to politics? Sure. Because, that is a pretty big league, the Overwatch League. Are the SJW guys, the Polygon guys, the Rock, Paper, Shotgun guys, are they trying to rein people into that sort of SJW code that you're talking about from Human Resources?
Oh, absolutely.
You think that? Yeah, because that's what it looks like to me,
hold everybody to that standard.
Yeah.
They're trying to hold YouTubers to that standard.
Yeah,
like, remember when they went after PewDiePie, right?
That's
he wasn't the only one. They went after Dr. Disrespect. They went after Ninja because he said the N-word one time on stream while singing a rap song.
Barely. By the way, I have a rapper that works for me, and he's a black guy, and he said he tried to say indica, which is apparently a type of weed. I don't know those things because I don't smoke the weed. I wish I did, but I'm married and have 2 kids. I would love to smoke weed, but no, I didn't even buy that shit. But they were ready to go.
Ready to hammer him, and he just kept his head down, and that was it. They just passed, right? Yeah. And I think the journalists are starting to realize that no one really gives a shit about what they have to say anymore.
That's probably
right. Really,
true.
Like you notice that. Okay, so BuzzFeed calls me a far right personality.
That's so ridiculous.
I've never, no one comes to me with that.
I'm farther right than you. I'm farther right than you, and I'll tell you
people come to me and real like, I will tell them, BuzzFeed wrote about me, and they're like, yeah, fucking BuzzFeed, fuck BuzzFeed. That's the response nowadays. No one takes any of these websites seriously because they're full of shit.
Yeah.
They lied about PewDiePie. That was a big thing.
Oh, that was a big thing for me. It affected my pocketbook.
Yeah,
it was a big thing for me.
People were blaming PewDiePie for all of this stuff, but it's really YouTube's fault, right? YouTube had not managed its extremism problem for the longest time. It got so many pedophile channels, for example. Keemstar was talking about these pedophile channels, and you're like, take them down. YouTube does nothing, and then all it takes is for the advertisers to start pulling out, and that's when they start acting. And now everyone's
it's weird.
People like Keem and PewDiePie.
One of the although I don't think all of Keemstar is pedophile. Some of it was good. Hunting was all that well thought out. I remember a protege of his named Kavos, who we have an on again off again relationship with. He found a legit playlist, like a legit playlist. Yeah. I mean, they took it down, but this is before. This is more than a year ago. This is before the stuff like that. I mean, like it almost makes people afraid, I think, to turn people like that in, because it was the politics that got the thing rolling. It had like what's worse, a bunch of people uploading CP or somebody saying the N-word and have it being monetized, which you can always turn it off if you find out about it. I mean, their priorities are all types of fucked up. I'll give you another a reporter friend of mine, Will Heron, who works in he started doing a report on Germany, the quartering and stuff like that. And he's look, this guy's he's not, he doesn't work for major paper or anything. They started going after his credentials. He works for television. I was like, he was formerly a sports reporter, and this is his big break. No, it's not. You know, this is what they told him to do, and he did it. Yeah. And he contacted me and via Germany, and he ran probably the best report that he was allowed to run, and stuff like that, Ian. And you know, it's just, I don't know. It's so hard for these guys. It's so hard to get out the truth when you look through the
only thing that gets boosted is the hype. Yeah. It's like it. You know, again, going back to the SJWs, I love to talk about this. I mean, to an extent, people are saying, okay, they're blown out of proportion. But if you've ever worked in like the music industry, the movie industry, or YouTube, or anywhere, right, you'll notice that there is an undercurrent of SJWism going on, and it's usually power brokers, people in power deciding what is permissible to say and what's not, right? That's usually what's going on. And the only thing that gets pushed to the top, besides politics, like people get pushed to the top for political reasons, is hype, right? People love the fucking hype. If you're like genuinely talented as a musician, you won't get pushed to the top. They don't care. But if you're flashy, you got a little show or something like that, you know,
you gotta get noticed.
That's when you get pushed up, right?
Yeah,
it's
you gotta get noticed.
The same with news. It's the same with news. People read BuzzFeed because it's flashy. It's got sensationalism. They read CNN. You know, they watch CNN because it's got sensationalism.
Sure. And running riot, no matter how many times you have to repeat yourself, you can't do this. You're fucking thick head. You put they in quotes. When he's saying they, this is the same fucking problem we answered before. We're talking about Polygon. We're talking about Rock, Paper, Shotgun. We're talking about these publications. Is it necessary to name each one of them when it's already well established that they are biased cunts? I mean, is really running riot? Are you that fucking dense? We already dealt with this bullshit. He named the people that he was friends with. You fucking douche. You know, the funny thing is, I know this guy, and talking on him one-on-one is fine, but he is just simply in denial that his ideology is that of you are a Scientologist sympathizer. That's how I see you, and that's how everybody sees you in the chat. You're a good guy, you're a nice person, and you're wonderful, and you're a wonderful, loyal fan. But here's what I think you are. I'm not saying you're stupid, but you are a Scientology sympathizer. Just like you would be a sympathizer for some whacked out religious right-wing group. That's how I see you, and that's how 90% of the people see you in this chat. I just wanted to let you know. How about that?
Going back into video games, right?
Yes,
just
sorry.
Recently.
It pisses me off.
You know,
and I like that guy. And by the way, I like him.
You like that guy, I like him. He's a cultist, right? He's a cultist,
but he's my friend. You know, I wouldn't say we're hard. But I mean, if you ever called him, I'd be nice to him. I played video games with him. I would. Yeah. I do generally like this guy. But he just doesn't listen to the words that are coming out of my fucking mouth. It's enough to drive you nuts. But go ahead, back to video games.
Yeah, going back to video games and, you know, trying to segue slowly back into video games. Jessica Price worked for Guild Wars 2, right? She was a narrative designer, and you might have seen her name recently popping up.
That didn't happen because there's no such thing as SJWs, Ian. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. It didn't happen. You're not naming anybody. Okay, yes, I did hear about it. She got her fucking ass canned because she was attacking the people that were paying her salary.
Exactly, yeah. She's attacking the people who are paying a salary, attacking a prominent YouTuber, a supporter of the game, who is working, you know, on videos for the game longer than she was working at the company. She only hired a year ago, right? And she's telling him, you know, going on about how professional writers shouldn't have to take advice from amateur writers. She's fucking full of herself, right? Crazy. Even beyond the SJWism, just a fucking idiot. They're full of herself. And so, you know, people are not even rude to her. They're just, you know, responding to her public tweets, and then they get painted as harassers by the games media. You have Gamma Sutra, you have Polygon, you have Waypoint. All these websites are calling them harassers.
Yeah, I know.
The guy tweeted
You're a bunch of racist cunts. Fuck you, lady. Hey, stop harassing. I mean, literally, you're racist. You're no good. You're a piece of shit. Hey, lady, why don't you go fuck yourself? Hey, don't harass me. I mean, that's literally the way that goes down. I don't understand. Like, that's not harassment.
They went even further than that. He never even called her and said, hey, lady, you're a bitch. He never even said that. He was just sending her tweets, like, talking to her And she decided it was harassment, so now it's all harassment. Everything's fucking harassment.
Everything's
right?
harassment.
And this is the narrative that they're pushing. And you don't want me to name names? Oh, I'll name names. You know, Polygon, Waypoint, Kotaku, all these fucking websites, Gamma Sutra, PC Gamer, they're all doing it. You look at their fucking journalists on Twitter, you know, you look at their Twitter accounts, they're all talking about it still because they're upset that their BFF got fired for being a bitch. That's literally it. And they want to act like they're the victims, and they're all going on making up stories now, saying that, oh, ever since she got fired, you know, I have a friend of a friend, you know, his workplace, someone sent an email saying that you should fire this hashtag female name. It's like, come on, this never fucking happened.
It's never happened. You're going to talk about stuff that never fucking happened, and they're
all retweeting it. Thousands of like 5K retweets.
I know a guy that knew a guy that said this happened, you know, and that's taken absolutely
and then everybody
seriously.
clapped, and then the turns out that the person they're trying to get fired is Albert Einstein. Yeah, wow.
And you left all of this.
I was sick of it because here's the thing: when you try to call that shit out, they will destroy you. When you're part of that clique, they will try to fucking ruin you. That's why I fucking left. I was tired of it. And now they can't call me out. They can do all the shit they want. You know, they can shit on me every single day if they want to. But I don't play their fucking game, so I don't care.
Yeah, it's just that simple.
That's a trick to it, right?
And somebody wrote in the pack, doesn't Tommy hate journalists? Yes. I do.
Everybody does.
I do.
Join a club.
Nobody can stand journalists, but that doesn't mean that everybody that's going out there. I will say this, and this is something where you and me. I don't believe in journalism. Period. I don't think it ever existed. I think it's an idea. It's a nice idea. If I sound a little like Carlin in one of his bits, it's because I actually feel that way, and I think it's a nice idea. But I don't think it's ever. I don't think in any stretch. At any time, including the inventing of the print, I don't think it's ever really been practiced. I think we always look back because, like, you know, I've only been on the planet 40 years. You've been on the planet. That there was this time where journalism was honest. But if you really look back to just like 10 years before,
it was never honest.
It was never honest.
There were honest journalists, but journalism itself was never honest. Look at honest. So look at the Kitty Gervais, right? Kitty Gervais story, the one about how a woman was raped and murdered and nobody cared, right? No one reported.
That happened in New York. It happened in the late 60s.
No,
it wasn't really
not
happened.
How it went down. Yeah, that was a narrative that they used to push for the creation of 911. Like, you can read it up. There's a fucking documentary on how this whole thing happened. People did call the police. People did actually try to intervene. People just weren't silent and doing nothing, but it created a narrative. It created a narrative that people in times of stress, in times of trouble, they will say nothing. That's a bullshit narrative. That never happened. It's not how it went down. It was just a thing that a bunch of New York Times journalists came up with because they wanted to push for the creation of 911, emergency hotline. That was it. Yeah, it's just a narrative.
It's very. I don't know the details. I don't know if I can argue. I'm familiar with the Kitty Genovese story, and that's. I mean, if you go to psychology class in the United States, Kitty Genovese always comes up. But yeah,
same with it's a lot of bullshit, right? Like the Stanford prison experiment, also bullshit. Those people knew what they were getting into. You know,
you think that was bullshit? Yeah. Though? The Stanford prison experiment.
The Stanford prison experiment is bullshit. Yeah, there's basically they pre-selected themselves and they knew they were never gonna get killed or anything like that. So they're all kind of role playing. A lot of it was.
What about the one? I remember the experiment. I don't remember the name of it. Where the Jewish doctor with the fake shocks, where the
Milgram experiment,
they
right?
Sort of an appeal to authority thing. Yeah, that experiment.
Yeah.
I mean, I
think that might be the Milgram experiment.
Yeah,
but
I thought that was legitimate. I mean, you're not allowed to do it anymore.
I think that one might be real. Like, there are certain aspects of the Stanford prison experiment that prove to be very interesting because they show that people pre-select, they self-select into certain groups, into certain roles. But it doesn't prove what the experiment was set out to prove. Like, the experiment was set out to prove the idea that if you took a random sampling of students or people and divided them into roles, that they would naturally assume those roles. Like, that is not proven at all. Like, people don't naturally become oppressors just because you give them a prison guard's uniform.
And you're saying that they weren't naturally selected or randomly selected to begin with.
Correct. Right. Yeah. These people self-selected.
If you want to send me something on it privately, because I was always was under the impression I'd definitely give it a chance. I'm not saying
it's a recent piece. It's a recent piece.
Yeah, I'm not saying I agree with you completely, but I definitely want to see that. If you can send that to me privately, that'd be great. I think we've gone to the end of the road. I appreciate it. If you don't mind,
you want to talk about video games? Fallout 76. I'm looking forward to it.
Why? Why?
Why not? I mean, everybody says that. Okay, Fallout. We got to have Fallout multiplayer. Please give us Fallout multiplayer. Bethesda, Todd Howard, please give us Fallout multiplayer. And then they finally do it, and then it's like, I don't want to play Fallout multiplayer.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I don't know. I've never been a Fallout guy. I'm a multiplayer guy.
Yeah, I'm a huge Fallout guy. So
yeah, I know a lot of my fans just love it. My fans love it. They're always telling me to get into it. I don't like Borderlands. I don't like RPG first-person shooters. I just want to get in and compete.
Borderlands not very good though.
Well, I mean, I think it's just a taste thing. Thank you, Fang. I think it's just a taste thing. I want to compete.
It's a taste thing, yeah. I mean, you can enjoy it.
I don't dump on single player. I mean, well, maybe my friend. I goof on him a bit, but I mean, I don't really dump. If that's what gets you off, whatever makes you happy about gaming is it's cool with me. But it's just there are some things that I'm just not. I don't know. I'm not that interested. Let me Let me shout these guys out. Thanks for the subscriptions. Swag Sandwich, Black Left Wing Populism, Malcolm of the North, Tom Zick. He's subscribed to this particular channel. Core Master with Amazon Prime. I don't know why. I always find it weird that I get Amazon Primes when I'm on here, but I do appreciate it either way. Nice. Jademon56. I cannot say your name. I'm going to say Yuri Mini. Yuramini, maybe that's what it is. It's phonetically spelled. Yuramini, subscribe. Of course, Veggie started off with $15. Fritzy and Brian, they both subbed. Versts, my good friend Versts. Jesus Escobar. Excuse me. I've been drinking. Excuse me. I drink during my videos. Isn't that wild? Jim Knox with $10. High as a Kite. Chunky Monster. Meridian Hermes with $2, and Feng Sanchez and Orzil with the last subscription of the day. I thank you so much, Eddie. And this is a big deal for me to have you on, and it's really fun to have and watch your transition and keep giving them hell, man. I really dig that.
I will.
Yeah, keep giving them hell and keep your nose clean. You know what I'm saying? Oh,
I'll give them hell here on YouTube.
One last thing before I go. In a statement, what do you think about IBS kind of falling apart and just going haywire?
I think that it's just run its course, like everything, it comes to an end. So whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, that's up to you. It's a matter of taste. Some people enjoyed listening to it, some people didn't, and now it's come to an end. And
I like the community aspect of it. I like the community aspect of it, but I wasn't really happy with the community. I think there's some bad dudes in that. I think when you get to IBS, you get to the the other end of the spectrum of the SJW. I think there was too many people in there, although they were much smaller. You
get a lot of Nazis, is what you're saying.
Yeah. Nazis. Now I'm a little clearer on it than I was before, and obviously me and Tonka, we've sorted a lot of our shit out. And certainly Tonka's not a Nazi. He's a fucking American Indian. That's not.
He's not a fucking Nazi.
That's not the first guy. There, I did call him chief runs with Nazis when I was mad at them. But no, obviously,
pretty creative insult.
Yeah, I was pretty impressed with myself, to be honest with you. But no, I'm enjoying Tonka's company more and more, and he's helping me out, and I'm glad it broke up. Be honest with you, because that's maybe we can get into that another time. The right wing problem. We bashed the left.
So,
maybe look into
the right. You got to bash the far right.
You got to bash the right a little bit. You got to bash the right a little bit. All right, let me end this right here. Ian, stay on just after that so I can say goodbye to you personally. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. This is very special. This is a big deal to me. I like knowing that I can call Monday Matt up, and Ian Miles, Cheong, and Chris, and all those guys, because it's legendary.
The almighty infinite, independent excellence, devil fighting, rebel titan.
Next to Patreon.
Fake identities, okay, you cool with Jason Bourne. Running with these Wolverines, okay, you about to catch a storm. I ain't never been a liar, got tired of niggas playing me. Head in my legs like she about to catch a pedigree. Chi-Town to King's home, slapping fives, black stones, 6 mile to danger zones. Bullets look like waffle cones. Folk affiliated to evolution of Machiavelli. Don't make me lead them eagles to you like I'm Chip Kelly. They feel my struggle, I express.
Thank you for the sub.
I'm about to make it hard to breathe. Here's a headline.